All right, welcome to the latest edition of the FPL America podcast. This is David Smith.
Travis Hoig.
Brian Chesko.
Gentlemen, I feel like I'm loaded with energy tonight as I am on the cusps. I have one night sleep, and then I am on a golf trip for the rest of the week. It is a yearly thing. I go on. It sounds crazy because most people don't even know 24 people who play golf, and there's 24 people on this trip. It's a 3-day Ryder Cup style trip. It is my favorite weekend of the year, unless I'm celebrating it with my family.
Where is it this year?
We are in South Myrtle Beach.
Okay.
South Myrtle Beach, and if you want to find us, come find us. It's not that big of a place down there. It's around Pawleys Island. So it's going to be fantastic. So I am super excited. We leaving town at like 5:15 in the morning, and it's gonna be a really, really fun time if you like golf. There might also be some poker playing going on.
Okay.
League Billy in our mini league also going on the trip. He and I are captains of teams.
Nice.
And this is our 5th iteration of this tournament, and it's crazy, but my team's won every time. And I think I said this last year. Last year when we won, I felt bad. Like, Billy puts more work. He and I are both team captains. Billy puts in so much work to make this happen, and just trying to get that first win. So, like, I'm not – and I want to win. I'm playing to win. I'm managing to win as I'm setting up matchups for the days, and I'm going to win. My team expects me to go out there
of course,
and do whatever we can to win.
Yeah, you don't plan to fail.
But if we lose, it's just going to be like – listen, the guys in this trip are so much fun. We have a trophy that we made. One of the guys took it apart and then put it back together and made it so you can take the top off and you can drink from the trophy.
Oh, nice.
Also, one of the guys last year, and this is so ridiculous, amazing, it has the name, it's a WWE level belt. It's heavy. It's huge. Huge and gaudy, real leather, gold. He got plaques on the sides for like each year, which team won. So I have 4 on there, obviously, because we won last year. And it says the name of the tournament on it. It's ridiculous. And wearing it is kind of fun. Like, but it's so obnoxious. Like, it's like, I'm not kidding. It is, you could hold it up and, like, if I held it, oh my gosh, I think that thing's got some girth to it.
Nice.
And anyway, so I want to bring the belt back home.
Yeah.
If League Billy ends up taking it, I'm not going to cry a river because I truly feel bad. Like, if we win for a 5th year in a row,
I'll feel bad.
I just don't.
I'm on team League Billy.
Yeah, I'll feel bad for Billy.
I'm not going to play for that. I promise you that. And he's whipped because he and I played like the last day. We'll play in a singles match. He has absolutely torched me the last 3 years. Last year was close. But the last 2 years before that, he torched me. I beat him the first year. But anyways, all that, I would love to win that, especially. And then obviously I would love to win. But if I lose, Billy's put a lot of work into it. He also listens to the pod. So,
you owe him.
A little bit.
Yeah.
He's one of the few.
Dave's not going to tell you this part of the story. The WWE belt, he has said before, he conceived his 3rd child wearing that belt. So
it wasn't around then, but
I hope you have
funny.
It's conceivable.
I would just recommend,
if you will,
League Billy and anyone else going on the trip,
sure.
bring some Clorox wipes. That's all I'm saying.
All right, we are here to not talk about my golf trips.
Yeah,
we are here to talk about another Premier League weekend. We have made it through 6 match weeks? Does that sound right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I don't know why the match week isn't showing. It's disappeared, but it's match week 6.
Match week 6.
Review.
And a lot of good things happen. Liverpool has crept their way into the top of the table as Manchester City and was not able to get the result they wanted. Arsenal snuck a win out at the end. So it was enough. So them and City are tied at second. I'm not going to back that up. We're not going to back that up.
Them and Kenny
Tete. But Liverpool 5-0-1. And so Travis, this is interesting. Liverpool has lost titles. We're not going to dwell on this long, but this crossed my mind. Liverpool has lost titles to City because they've drawn too many games. So even though you've lost, looks bad a little bit, but you're atop of the table. City and Arsenal both drawn twice. You've drawn 0.
Yeah, no,
there's something to be said for that.
Profound.
Right? Anyways, Chelsea keeps winning. There's a lot of things to talk about. So I can't remember because the schedule was up on the new awesome monitor that
we got it. I was just waiting for Brian to tell us.
Well, no, the first.
Okay, Brian, what are we gonna do?
The first thing we're gonna talk about. I mean, I just want to briefly, even though it's painful, I would like to we can relive my my wild card streak, which is alive and well. Fantastic. Just kind of go over that. I did want to talk about some of the things that happened today because City and Arsenal both played, of course, Champions League today. Liverpool and Aston Villa play tomorrow. You got some Europa League things happening this week too. So so
injuries could happen. And
yeah, of course, injuries are always a concern. But what we need to talk about is whether or not any of the stuff that happened, we'll wrap it up with any of the major results, any of the big scores from the week. Just because it was maybe some unlikely people who had some big scores, or maybe some people who you may have gone off of because you were on wild card. So huge week for everybody who did not wild card likely this week. And so, we should talk about some of those players, whether that's changing your mind going into game week 7.
Okay.
Well, for 3 weeks in a row, we have talked about wild cards a lot.
Let's keep going.
Keep going. So why don't you tell us about your wild card?
Keep going. The streak is alive quite comfortably.
The streak is what? Because
one of the dumbest wild cards I've ever played, and like I said before, when I think I said it last week, that every time I cannot remember a wild card. I'd have to go back, you'd have to see almost week by week results. I'd have to check my notes. I cannot remember a wild card that I played where I was the week after where I said that was amazing. Okay. It worked. Like everything.
It's kind of had the par for the course, though, isn't it?
You were a little under average. Average was 50,
honestly,
you got 40.
There was a point where I just was like, I'm not even looking. I just stopped paying attention to the games at one point.
Because it was bothering
you. Can I encourage you?
Because I was like, forget
Can
this.
I encourage you in one way?
No.
Your match week would have been fine if you just had one player. The only people that advanced this match week was if they had one player, and that's 44% of the fantasy players, one player. Yeah. And it was cold.
Yeah, for sure. No, but I'm like just looking through, you sell Anthony Robinson. That was a common move on wild card. He goes for 7. The whole point, last week we talked about it is, what am I supposed to do with this dead asset, Diogo Jota, in my team? Of course, he comes back with an 8. Not entirely unexpectedly, but still fantastic score for him. And of course, to make way for all the other moves you make, Salah was the guy, and I said it. I mean, I feel like I was extremely hesitant. I hated the move. I said that a lot.
Complete credit for that.
Does not count for points, but at least I can have it on. There's audio and written record of my hesitation there.
Video record.
True. And then of course that was to all facilitate buying Gabriel.
Oh, big week for Gabriel.
Had to remake my defense bench, which included Mikolenko and Greaves, which that they weren't playing regardless. But either way, those are 2 players who are just, functionally dead assets on the bench. Wouldn't have even considered Harwood Bellis. Wouldn't have played him anyway. But of course, Harwood Bellis scores a goal this week. One of the 4-0 defenders there. And of course, to haul in the biggest turd of the week, Luis Diaz. And then that left me as only a very specific amount of money where my 4th midfielder, I only had enough I had 5.5. So Marcus Tavernier, I missed the price rise on Semenyo. I was already thinking not to go there. Didn't go there. It allowed me to get Havertz and Solanke. So Havertz and Solanke, as along with as forwards, that's okay. I was fine with that. They both scored, but they got even sixes. Every other person got bonus points, went beyond like either goal and assist. Ollie Watkins, who would have been a consideration, goal and an assist, and one of the top scoring forward for the week. So, no, second top. Liam Delap, I think, was number 1 this week. Plus,
good for Ipswich.
All of that. Then on top of it, Morgan Rogers sitting first bench for me. So I bench Morgan Rogers to maximize the rest of my front line, and I'm like, somebody had to sit. Somebody had to sit out of those, given that lineup, and I chose Morgan Rogers, and of course he scores the highest of any of those players.
Yeah,
like not just bad for results, but just I think it was like going along so much with the template for the wild card, and after all of my screaming and yelling about doing that,
and then you did it.
Yeah, and then doing it anyway.
If only you would listen to yourself. How many years have you been saying that?
Trossard was a serious consideration because he freed up basically, yeah. So it was every time I moved Luis Diaz out, I felt better
because Trossard's a 6'9".
Yes, and so that freed up, allowed money to go other places. So there was also there was a debate between Havertz. Solanke was pretty well locked. There was a point where there was no question whether or not Solanke was staying in. And so then is it Havertz? Where can I get 0.9 to go from Havertz to Watkins? Because I really liked that move. The more I look at it, that was one of the places was that I could make up some money. I had Watkins probably as he was in there probably more than anyone else, and so I was not sitting here like, Cole Palmer was like my number 1 midfielder choice, and I just went off. I didn't. There was not even a single consideration. I think it was FPL Raptor this week that talked specifically, as the results were happening. He said, he talked about this week how Cole Palmer's goal threat was minimal. He was offering tons of creative. He was offering tons of creativity. His goal threat was low
against cold.
Oh, and so just that there's a bet against everyone that had Cole Palmer that saw 4 goals coming. Please, that is
in the first half.
I mean, honestly,
in the first half,
whatever. I mean, it's great. He's an excellent player, and
Chelsea is just so hard to read.
Anyway, the point is, there are so many of those players where I'm I had Ryan Aitnori, who I'm I don't know why. I almost would have transferred him in during the podcast last week, and I just didn't. I probably wouldn't have. I would have benched him anyway. It's not like I would have played him against Liverpool.
But you had said on the pod last week his potential. I remember specifically you talking about him.
So,
and I'm thinking, why are we talking about him?
Yeah. And then the Fulham guys or whatever. There's so many other options, and I guess the slightest positive for anyone who did wild card is likely you're looking at the fixtures near and medium term for almost all the players you brought in, and the reason you got them was because the fixtures are all very good. So this week, I don't have to make a move this week. I'm happy to roll the same exact team out again.
Does it make you nervous not having Palmer?
No.
He was the single reason why you did not have a 65 this week.
He doesn't need Palmer. He has Tavernier.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. Now, one of the most common moves, and this is something you can talk about when we get to your team here in a second. One of the top moves for the week is to move Saka to Cole Palmer. Are you doing that kind of move if you have Saka and not Palmer?
Yeah, I would.
You're selling Saka.
Yeah, I would.
Against Southampton to bring in Cole Palmer for probably the worst run of fixtures Chelsea have had yet this season.
So I would say this. Yes, they're both on penalties. Neither one has taken... Well, that's not true. Palmer took one this weekend.
Yeah.
Palmer has scored hat tricks multiple times. You know what Saka's never had? Hat trick.
Okay.
So Palmer fits into the same category with Salah, maybe Ollie Watkins. Obviously, Holland. Jamie Vardy's done it. I don't see him doing it this year.
Yeah.
And Heung-min Son. Okay? Those are the guys who have ever scored. And scoring a hat trick is like winning a Super Bowl for a quarterback. A lot of guys do it once. Can you do it twice?
I'm not saying I'm not saying he can't get a big score. I'm saying they're about to play a Nottingham Forest team that we said is as good of a defense as there is in the league. That's their first one.
It is a home match.
Then they're
Chelsea,
at Liverpool. How many goals is he going to score at Liverpool? I mean, you'd bet on 0. I would bet 0 on goals at Liverpool.
Ryan, I don't know what to think of Chelsea, and I don't know what they are yet. But every week they seem to look better and better.
So let's talk about that. So Nottingham Forest, Liverpool. So game week 7, game week 8. How many goals do you think Cole Palmer's going to score in the next 2 game weeks?
I would set the over/under at 0.5.
So
Can he score? Well, can he score 1 goal against either of those teams?
You want that? You want that action, don't you?
He scored in 3 out of the 6 games this season.
Okay.
Now, obviously, Brighton, he scores 4, right? Okay, so that's a little bit of an outlier, but still, he scored against West Ham, scored against Wolves. Neither team playing great, so I'll give you that. Didn't score against Bournemouth, didn't score against Palace, didn't score against City. I will easily take that he will get, he's in form. And
I guess for his price, you would have to. So if you are doing him like having him there alongside Saka, great.
Which I have.
Right. So if you have both, that makes sense. I'm saying, would you sell one for the other when Arsenal is about to go home Southampton and Bournemouth, away to Bournemouth in their next 2 games in the league?
Bournemouth has played a little tougher.
Bournemouth has an extremely good attack.
Okay, fair.
So that's why I'm not worried at all about Bournemouth as an attacking side. I'm just saying, like, this just seems like these are the two. The reason why everyone was going double and triple Arsenal in the last few weeks was because
for this run of 3 fixtures.
Yeah, it was because Leicester, Southampton, Bournemouth.
Correct.
And the tail end of the Chelsea, like last week we talked about it. I genuinely didn't understand the appeal of Chelsea defender. Or Robert Sanchez. Like, that made no sense to me. Why? Given Chelsea defensively and the teams that they're about to play, it's mostly that same thing for attackers. It's the opposite for attackers. Like we've said, I feel like we will say it forever. What looks like gray or red fixtures for attackers is usually, like, at worst, it's neutral. I think it tends to favor attackers. I think. Like this week, 2 clean sheets, 2, and one of them's from Fulham against Nottingham Forest.
Yeah,
like it's just an inexplicable 0.
Agree.
And Spurs benefit from a first half red card, which I don't know how that. I would love to know how a wrong red card, an absolutely wrong red card.
It got rescinded.
So I'm just saying, like, I cannot imagine transferring Saka out. Given this bit of fixture run here, it's just on a 1-for-1 Saka for Cole Palmer. I'm not saying Cole Palmer can't. I'm just
love
saying
Saka. He's either scoring or assisting pretty much every week, and he's the leading midfield scorer right now with 61 points. Saka's got 38. Fast math, 23 points right there, right? So. In 6 games, he's outscored him by 23 points. Yes, Palmer had a massive week this week with 25. My point being is Saka hasn't had a match week, I don't think, where he's had more than a goal and an assist combined, and or just one or the other. Week 1 against Wolves, he had a goal and an assist.
Yeah.
Every other week. In fact, he's only got 1 goal on the season. Every other week he's been assisting. I just think, for whatever reason, Palmer is always in the mix. And if you said, Dave, you can have one or the other for fantasy, I'm taking Palmer.
Okay. No, I
take that bet. I'll take the over.
I've documented that. You're on the under. Congratulations.
Okay.
You manned up and took a bet.
No, and I'm not like.
Hey, there's something to that.
No, and if he scores, that's the thing. Like,
trying to figure out if you're talking about that or him.
Right, no, it's him. It's him. Definitely him.
No, I'm saying like it's not going to be a surprise for him to score against Nottingham Forest.
No, I hear you.
If he scores against Liverpool, I mean, he'd be the least surprised. It would be most surprising if Mudryk scored against Liverpool, or if Nicholas Jackson managed to kick a ball in that. I'm just saying, like,
I just don't know what Chelsea is yet because of their schedule. Because they play City, they lose 2-0. Okay, so then they score 6 on Wolves, they draw Palace, they beat Bournemouth 1-0 at Bournemouth.
Mm-hmm.
They smoke a West Ham that's a disaster zone, and then they come home and they go up 4-0 on Brighton and they give away 2 consolation goals. So I don't know what Chelsea is yet. I just don't.
They do seem more organized than they were last year.
I think I said this last week because you guys were giving me crap about, Dave loves Chelsea. No, but Maresca's doing something that other managers haven't done. And every week it seems like they're getting a little better. And I have to admit that. It pains me to say that, but it's true.
Doesn't seem that painful. It seems like you're enjoying it.
You know what? That's just so unnecessary. That's just so unnecessary. All right.
I'm just saying, I guess the issue is, like, he scores 4 goals. 2 of them, okay, like, you can't control a penalty being given away. Whatever, like, Brighton's odd tactics and not shifting anything and continuing to make goalkeeper errors and somebody else who just talked about that. There was somebody that talked about that with, it might have been FPL John Batra that talked about a similar kind of thing with Haaland, that a ton of Haaland's goals this season were not from created chances. They were from
errors,
defensive errors, or some sort of backline error. So I still, I mean,
it just seems
if you
like
want to bet against Haaland, I guess
guys,
a lot of people are, but I just
whether or not backline errors just happen to certain guys, Palmer, Haaland, or they're always in the right positions at the right time. There's, again, how many guys have scored hat tricks? Watkins, Salah, Vardy, not going to happen. Heung-min Son, probably not going to happen. And now Palmer for multiple times. That's pretty much it. So I don't know how else to say it. I don't know how he does it. I think most people look at it and go, how does he do it? I don't know. It doesn't seem like he does anything super spectacular. Doesn't have spectacular speed. Doesn't have spectacular dribbling. Doesn't have spectacular shooting. But he's always in the right place at the right time, and fortune just seems to follow him. And years ago, I was coaching soccer / football. I had one kid on my team who, he was not fast. He didn't have a great shot. And I kept playing him as striker because I cannot explain it. He would always be in the right place at the right time. The ball would bounce to him. He'd hit a shot and he'd score. And you're like, how is this even possible? And I don't know if Palmer has some of that same luck, whatever, but it keeps happening. This is not his first hat trick.
Romeo Lavia signed his ball. You guys see his message to Palmer?
No.
It said, you're still a mid player. That's his signature.
Oh, that's fantastic. All right.
So echoing what you're saying.
So there's a Opta analyst, like the analyst.com. They had an article.
That was analyst.
Different thing. No, this was from a few days ago. There's an article. Find it right now. Author Ali Tweedale writing about is Premier League pressing too good now for every team to play out from the back, and just does kind of a tactical analysis. Just shows like the percentages for each team, for where every team, top to bottom, alphabetical order, where they play goal kicks.
Okay.
So, some teams like Chelsea play 78% of their goal kicks are played basically within the penalty area.
Sideways,
so they play, where Arsenal 85% are played long. So
really,
you got Kai Havertz down there,
of course. And you've got all you got to do, kick it to Havertz, who just knocks it onto Saka, hat trick. Arsenal win the title. It's so easy.
Amen.
No, but
Saka can't get hat tricks.
No, but it is. It's a real. I mean, it's an interesting question. It's the way the game shifts. Whatever. I would encourage you to go find it. Theanalyst.com. Extremely good content all the time.
Yeah,
it's all coming straight from.
It's a relatively new
website
site. Too. It's this is year 2, I think. I've been really impressed with that.
All right.
Very, very good.
So that wraps up. If you guys are content, now I have forced to relive idiotic week.
I've already moved on to top schedules.
Fantastic.
And we've moved on. But last thing, if you could have gone back, knowing what you know now, to change anything, how many changes would you have made? Don't go into detail. 1, 2, 3.
I would have needed to make probably 3.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
And because it was Salah, not Palmer, there was no one other. That was the one guy where I was like, why aren't I doing this?
Okay.
And no matter what I did, every time I took him out, I was like, this is dumb. And I did it anyway.
How many transfers did you have before your wild card?
I still have 3.
And
so I have 3 now.
Oh,
so
yeah, that's
you
right.
could.
That's right. We
I
did
guess
that.
I thought I recalled that.
Yeah.
So you could solve your problem right now.
Absolutely.
Solve your problem. You could go back and revisit it.
And
that's a
very good call, Travis.
Interesting wrinkle.
Yeah.
Right?
When we talk about, I love the new.
This is awesome.
Rolling. Not this. Well, this is very good. I was going to say rolling.
You also love the rolling transfers.
No, rolling over transfers after you do.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That's why I'm always looking like this.
We're checking out the monitor. I'm telling you guys, we have a professional recording studio that you guys just don't know about. It's amazing. All right.
So I was going to talk. We should talk about upcoming schedule.
Let's do
I think that does factor into decisions.
We're at least going to cover the top 4 to 5 ish schedules, right?
Well, I wanted to do it based on did anything that happened today matter? Like that's really
Arsenal wins 2-0, City wins in Champions League 4-0 or 4-1.
4-0.
Yeah.
Saving your clean sheets for the Champions League. Thank you, City and Arsenal.
PSG did hit the post twice.
Okay.
But Raya was not forced into like a oh my gosh save.
Okay.
Is he ever?
It was no, Arsenal defense looked pretty good.
Very normal.
Now, I will say this.
Very normal starting lineup.
Timber went off in half.
Not
I don't know.
Tactical.
Okay.
I don't know. So they were up 2-0 at half. It could have been, hey, we don't want to. We want to rest his legs a little. And we're going to give Kivior some minutes.
Okay.
I don't know. Even Arsenal Fan TV, I was watching some interviews. They didn't know after the game either if this was an actual injury or just, hey, Timber had a really good first half, which he did. Never seemed to get injured. And so we're going to pull him off, limit minutes, almost put him on this is not a baseball podcast, even though the baseball playoffs started today if you love Major League Baseball. Maybe they put Timber on a pitch count.
Is Ben White injured?
He
has been.
He has.
He wasn't in the. I was just looking.
He wasn't
here.
in the team today.
He wasn't in the team.
So
and
he has something. And Arteta's. I think he's been
a melanoma from all the tanning.
Maybe. Pardon to anyone who actually has melanoma.
Yeah,
I apologize for Travis.
Worried
right
about
now.
the guy.
So, no, I don't think he has melanoma. I think he does have something, and Arteta has said before. I think the physio has picked up on something. Because Ben would never actually tell us that he was feeling something. So there's a little something there. And
your manager, the update after the match was Timber unbelievable in the first half, but he felt something muscular and he wasn't certain. He's played more minutes than we would have wanted in the past few weeks, and we have to manage him.
So that's code for he's on a pitch count.
Yep. So
which is fine.
They're managing minutes. Yeah,
I think they're managing minutes. They're also getting other guys minutes. Arsenal is deeper probably now than I think I've ever seen them. The fact that we can get through games and not truly miss Martin Odegaard is saying something. So that's a good thing.
Dave, so you had Havertz and Saka both scored today. Trossard with the assist on the Havertz goal. Trossard was the only one of those three who subbed early. So Havertz and Saka, that doesn't matter, right?
Havertz, for whatever, he never subs.
Right, no, he never subs.
Never
Saka,
subs.
we already said he's.
I'm surprised
permanent.
Saka stayed in as long as he did. His goal was a free kick that was way out. He hit low. I think he actually
Scuffed it.
It goes low, but it goes into a perfect area of uncertainty. What was the term, Brian?
The corridor. Of uncertainty, yeah.
It went perfectly into the corridor of uncertainty. And Martinelli first, then Partey, both tried to get a leg on it, barely missed their legs. Donnarumma is behind them, waiting for a deflection, and the ball goes right by Donnarumma's shoulder. And Partey was the last one. I think he was expecting Partey to hit it. And so Saka scored from like 40 yards out on an angle.
Just rolling the ball in.
A one bouncer. So it was a laser on a one bouncer. Donnarumma thought one of them was going to deflect it, and it literally buzzed right by his head and shoulder. This is not a shampoo podcast. And it went in. In fact, afterwards, the announcers, everyone was trying to figure out who actually got the goal. The guys ran up to Saka, but the TV camera panned to Partey. They thought he got a piece of it. He did not. And they eventually, after a video review, gave the goal to Saka. So
Interesting.
So, in other words,
that didn't. Yeah.
Now, he looked good. He was torching Mendes, who was on his side, making him look like he was a championship level player. No disrespect to the championship, but he was cutting in. He was finding space. He was making passes. He looked really good. It just, his goal came on a sort of a fluky free kick. It wasn't like he's Messi or Ronaldo banging one in, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Anyways,
French league.
Havertz, great pass from Trossard, fantastic, and a fantastic header.
So, Dave, the answer or the question is, with Odegaard still a ways off, Norway manager even saying he's far from being in their squad. I don't know that matters necessarily for Arsenal, but
sure.
And the last Arteta update was that the best he could say is he might surprise everyone and play before the international break, but there's no way that's happening.
No way. There's no need to rush him back.
Is Trossard a pick? Yes or no? Is he a midfield consideration right now?
Yes.
On form, I think so.
Yes. Is he a midfield consideration after the international break? Like next two games. So the next two that everybody really loves, the super green ones, Southampton this week and Bournemouth after the break.
Yes, I say yes.
Okay.
Even if Odegaard were to start, Trossard will play in the game, and every single time it seems like he comes in, I think he's Arsenal's best finisher, and he finds his way into scoring positions, and he hammers them home. He is Arsenal's Jota. Jota is, I would say, for the most part, Liverpool's best finisher.
He really
on one-timers.
He started.
Scrappy,
started every game since game week 3.
I think there's a lot of similarities between Jota and Trossard.
He has 14
except
points.
Except for the heading.
Yeah,
Jota's on another level. Sorry, Brian. Go ahead.
And this. 14 points for.
You can't get your wrists to do that, can you?
I can.
I don't know.
I can.
I don't think I can.
I'm not going to do it.
I'm just not. I ripped my
14
out here.
14 points for Trossard since game week 3. So, and
that's
you
with
can,
a -2 against City.
That's why I'm saying the goal and the assist that he got this week are the only 2 returns he's gotten since game week 3. His other goal was in the substitute appearance prior to that. 7 shots, 6 chances created. I honestly, when I saw that, like since game week 3, so 7 shots, 6 created, I would have thought it was more. Like if you had asked me ahead of time, how many is it going to be? I would have guessed more shots.
I would have thought that too.
And that has been his thing. We've talked about it for season on season that he's like your best per 90 guy. So ever since you got him, he's been your best, like most shots per 90, most shots on target per 90. But the per 90 is that's the variable with him, is because it's usually almost never 90.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I legitimately did.
Because of his price,
right,
I think he's a legitimate
liked the price,
concern.
and that was exactly it. If I was doing it for, it should have been on the wild card, but whatever, can't redo it. But
who would it be in place of if you
Luis
could do
Diaz would have been in place of Luis Diaz.
Oh, there's no way I'm starting Trossard over Diaz.
Really?
No. Diaz was red hot. He didn't point this week. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to lose faith just because 1 week.
Okay.
Yeah,
no one was hotter than Diaz.
Yeah, I want to see who plays this weekend, though. Or say it plays
tomorrow.
this
the lineups tomorrow are a big deal.
What, you thinking he's not going to start on the weekend?
That's the question. If he starts, if he starts tomorrow, then Gakpo starts on the weekend.
No way. I'll bet that right now.
Slot that's what I was going to say.
I mean,
I think they're going to mix it up a little bit.
Is there a history for that? Like, am I the?
It's just rotation, because you got to remember the Gakpo is also hot. Gakpo scored 2 goals.
Start Gakpo tomorrow.
Well, and that's the likely.
Who are they playing?
That's the likely pick. Bologna.
I'm starting Gakpo.
Well, but that's the thing. Is he rotating? Right, because he could be. It's going to depend on what he's looking at for matchups for his match for his.
Let's stay on Liverpool.
All right.
So when we come back to City, who actually played today, Liverpool after tomorrow, including tomorrow, about to go on a seriously bad run of fixtures. Not just because of the quality of the opponent, but because of the packing in of the schedule. Chelsea, you're away to Leipzig. You're at Arsenal after that. So you go
at Crystal Palace.
So you're going. So you're going. Bologna hosting Chelsea, who Dave's second favorite team, Chelsea.
It's Crystal Palace first on the 5th.
I refuse this.
What?
Chelsea's not my second favorite team.
Eventually, though. I'm saying
so Bologna and then Crystal Palace.
So Crystal Palace, you're fine. That's fine. Whatever. Chelsea, Leipzig, at Arsenal, home to Brighton. I don't know about that. That's probably fine. Also, home to Leverkusen, home to Villa, a relief at Southampton, but
then
that might not be relief.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Depending on what injuries
and then Real Madrid and Manchester City, 2 matches after that. So I guess what I'm saying, like.
Is not a fun.
It seems like buying the peripheral players here. It seems a little messed up now. Is I guess what I'm saying. Like Jota not training today. Slot doesn't matter. Slot says he expects him to be available. Nothing long term to worry about. Darwin Nunez.
He's ill. He's been cleared.
But he was training today.
He's gonna play tomorrow.
Right.
Jota should play on the weekend.
I still it's not going to make me feel better. I don't care how you encourage this, Dave. I hate that I put Luis Diaz in. I hate it. Are you? So that was the only thing I was going to be asking you concerning is Gakpo, and so it doesn't matter whether there's a concern for rotation or not. His price is going up, but while we're sitting here, it's going to go up tonight. So it's not his blank is not stopping anyone from buying him. Dave, to your point,
it's
not to drag former
did not go up, by the way.
It did not go up.
It'll go up tomorrow unless he gets hurt.
McNeil and Delap went up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But
McNeil didn't,
and actually Salah went down, which is interesting.
That's hilarious. If
Jackson went up last night.
If Scott was still here, not to drag former podcast people into this, but if Scott was here, would he have made Luis Diaz the dumb mass move of the week?
Oh, wow.
Bringing back an old segment to this podcast.
I don't think so.
You don't think?
Not on form.
I don't think so either,
because
Brian.
you have to remember the alternative was most people were moving from Jota to Diaz because Jota was going cold and Diaz was remaining hot. And this week is the first week where the roles swapped, right? So as far as I'm concerned, I don't think it was a dumb move because all the statistics, all of the performances they were encouraging that.
Yeah, no, his outcomes were good. The only thing that he wasn't beating Salah in really was the only thing Salah wasn't beating him in was FPL points. Almost every other statistical measurement was Salah.
Yeah. But with Diaz, 6 match weeks, 3 no returns,
right?
3 double
hauls.
digit.
Right? No, they're
returns.
gigantic.
14, 15, 16.
Right, and I saw it.
I'll take a 50% with a player. I just feel like he's 50% at the moment. He had 1 week and you have him in. I think you're psycho. I think you're crazy if you move him off of 1 week.
I don't like it.
You know the podcast rule.
No, I'm not.
It's 3 weeks. 3 weeks, and then you're just like, okay, maybe we need to move on.
So we can get Palmer in.
Would you sell money, no object? Are you selling Luis Diaz to get Cole Palmer?
I think so. I think so. Money, no object.
He's the only one,
but you have to remember,
but I mean, that's almost an unfair question because number one, they're not in the same price category.
Not even close.
And number two,
you can make $2.50.
Cold is
more than that.
It's almost 3.
Diaz is 8.
Oh, he is now. That's a good point. He is now.
Palmer's 10-7.
Still, you can find it.
It's just still.
All right.
Travis, last thing about your team. Now, would you sell Trent?
I would consider it. However, I am not going to.
You have him.
I think Trent is fixture proof.
Okay.
I legitimately think Trent is fixture proof for a couple of reasons. One, because he's just that good, and 2, because his free kicks. Even if the team is struggling, the likelihood that they're going to get a free kick in a dangerous area, especially when they're struggling, is pretty high. So difficult matches, lots of minutes. I think he's still a good own. 7-0 is really high, and if you needed to free up money to do something else, someplace else, to put out a different fire, I could see selling him, but I don't think it's a necessity to run away from the difficult run of fixtures for him because I think he's fixture proof.
Okay. No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm certainly not eager to get rid of the guy. I'm just kind of curious, just seeing that.
Yeah.
Because look, I know how the thinking tends to go. All you have to do is see gray and red when you open up the player information tab, and right away it's like, well. Hey, these fixtures are getting real bad.
Look at that.
I better make some moves to get away from these guys.
Gosh.
Yeah.
So, all right. Is there any other Liverpool related anything that matters to you? No other. There's not another midfielder. You're not touching Szoboszlai, right?
Not after that miss.
Okay.
Oh.
There was some. I don't think his miss was that bad, by the way.
At that closer range,
of course,
it's difficult.
It was fast.
Yeah.
Of course, this
still
week.
Made it.
Hey, this week as a Kanate owner,
I was going to say,
ring the bell because he scores a ton. First goal ever.
That's not a bad shout. Nor is Van Dijk for that matter because he's relatively inexpensive. I don't think Konate's a bad pickup. And I think that's pretty inspired to have him.
I do have him
because he doesn't score regularly.
No. That's complete luck. No one's bringing. But I want to look. Liverpool has been the best defense. They've least amount of goals scored on the season. I do believe.
Yeah.
And that they at least have 4 out of 6 clean sheets. So
like that.
If Konate is the easiest way in there at now a 5-2, I got him at a 5-1. Yeah. So hey,
sure.
There's that.
Conceded.
I also have Robertson, and I'm considering like.
Yeah,
that's a move I would.
Maybe
make.
I could move Robertson.
I would definitely move Robertson, especially on this run of fixtures. Mostly because of his age, he's gonna have to rotate.
And to your point,
he's not gonna get those.
And to
minutes.
your point, you said, Dave, you could easily just move to Virgil if you still want
and that
to
was
stay
my point,
in the Liverpool defense.
And that could be an option.
I would like,
but in this run, I don't know that I would. If I would, I would try and.
I would like to change Onana. I think. And so if I go cheaper in defender, I can make a little bit money so I can maybe come back to Morgan Rogers, who I should have never left.
Yeah. Yeah.
Liverpool, to your point, currently after conceding their second goal of the season, now leading the league in expected goals against, edging number 2.
Nottingham Forest.
Nope.
Ipswich. Jokes.
No, not even close.
Spurs.
Yes.
Wow.
Dave Smith.
Wow.
His third favorite team, Tottenham Hotspur, second best for expected goals
again.
against.
Guess who has
London.
Romero?
Keeps it in London.
2 thumbs pointing at this guy.
Nottingham Forest dropped to 5th, but they are still 5th best for expected goals against.
Still 5 better than I thought they'd be.
Yeah. And Liverpool, they're hanging in, I guess, allowing 9 shots per game. That's third best.
Okay, it's fine.
But whatever. Liverpool, objectively, better defensively this season than they were last season.
Oh, for sure.
Objectively okay.
Do you remember last season when you felt like it was near certainty that no matter who you were playing, Liverpool would
give up
concede at least one goal?
That's true.
At usually an inopportune or early time.
Yeah. Early and late.
Yeah.
And now
we would dominate the middle of the match and
now it
give it away in the beginning and the end. Yeah.
For them to have conceded goals.
I am not holding my breath on this continuing, both with the run of fixtures and the congestion that's going.
I think you're going to be fine.
I think we will continue to perform, and I think we'll be part of the equation, but I'm not holding.
Gravenberch has found his feet. All right, but that's not fantasy.
We're an injury or 2 away from it all falling apart.
That is interesting. I don't think you're deep.
Yeah.
I think you're getting a clean against Palace.
We're deep enough to maybe cover 1. We're not deep enough to cover 2. Yeah. So I'm interested to see how well
defensively.
That goes.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Defensive midfield. You cannot have an
if Gravenberch goes down or one of our center backs goes down, we're kind of stuck.
Next, Brian.
You're keeping it clean against
we need to talk about
Palace.
City.
Keeping it clean against Palace, and then not again until
City. We love City. Not
Manchester City. Haaland, Foden. Basically, everyone normal started today except for Ederson. Haaland and Foden both score. Who else? Gundogan scored today.
Yep.
Somebody else.
James McAtee scored.
Oh, McAtee. Yeah, you're right. Haaland 61 minutes. Foden played 78 minutes, which is perfect. I feel like that's exactly what I wanted to see.
He had a couple of involvements there too, a goal and 1 or 2 assists.
The reverse of Liverpool, they are about to go on a league run of games where I would say their next 6 games in the league are
really nice.
Fulham, Wolves, Southampton, Bournemouth, Brighton, Tottenham.
Very good.
And 2 of their 3 Champions League games are home. So I would just say...
Would you rather have... Well, Foden's got to show us in the Premier League.
I don't want to.
Right?
I don't need.
You're not ready to move to him.
No, I don't need to see it. I don't need to see it.
Gvardiol might be a good option as well if you haven't looked at.
I was going to say. I think the question would be because
that's an easy move for a Robertson owner.
Yeah, for sure.
Great option.
But I also have Rico Lewis. Is it worth a double?
Well, so that's what I was going to say. I think
this run, maybe.
I think if you wanted to, you could do both of those guys.
Especially because Gvardiol has continued to be a goal threat even into this season.
That's fair. That's a good point.
So you got a guy that's playing, labeled as a defender playing in midfield, and then a defender who's actually, up there, shooting.
Okay.
I don't think that's crazy.
I was a little surprised. Maybe I would have thought that because Gvardiol's price dropped, that his selection percentage might have been a little lower.
At 22.2.
22 is high. I'm a little surprised Rico Lewis is only at 11. I feel like it would have been higher than that.
Crazy.
It's not really translating right now is the issue. He's not getting a lot of points.
And people are pointing that out plenty of times.
Yeah, but he's so cheap. Like, I'll easily stick with him.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I got him at a 4.5. I did.
Yeah.
He's now up to 4.7, but to me, he's worth a 4.6. So.
I mean, Pep's comments about him today, I think he's ready to adopt Rico Lewis, honestly. He said the way Rico Lewis is playing, there are no words.
Oh.
He does everything.
No words. The love I have for him.
Pretty much.
It's boundless.
Wow.
Really cool stats. Per StatMuse FC, find him on X.
X.
In the Champions League, created 3 big chances, which is most of any defender.
Rico did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then this is obviously a Rico Stan account, Rico Rising MCFC. Rico Lewis lost possession 7 times in 90 minutes on 95 touches. Kyle Walker lost possession 4 times in 12 minutes on 19 touches.
Wow.
Not to mention Kyle Walker, another urinating in public incident that was caught on camera.
Stop.
I'm serious. Find it. Look it up right now. And you won't see it on just Daily Mail. This would be just about everywhere. I think it's the question of
wow,
why is this guy the captain?
Yeah.
Everything.
Well, I would just.
What's Brother Matt call him?
My
a trash can with wheels.
Why does he always have to pee? Does he have a bladder infection? That would be my question.
I don't know.
Apologies to any of you who have bladder infections.
Maybe,
Dave made you feel comfortable there.
You have to. You urinate more if you have a bladder, and it hurts.
Maybe he does.
That's my concern for Kyle Walker.
Maybe he does have a problem.
We got our title for the episode. It hurts to pee.
I'm not saying that Rico Lewis, it's not that it's Kyle Walker's going to get reprimanded and, no more public urination, Kyle, and you're going to sit for a couple weeks or whatever. It just seems like the level that Rico is at consistently and the praise that he gets, I think the only real fear you have is he inexplicably missed the entire Arsenal match. Why do you sit him for Arsenal? Yeah. So
he won't because that was a game. He wasn't ready for that.
Yeah, he and Gvardiol are both benched or play 45 minutes against Brentford. So that's the only Gvardiol rotation.
February 1st, they come to our house.
Yes, I know you guys have circled it in red Sharpie on your red calendar.
Because those frickin' posers.
Because London is red.
That's right.
For Brentford.
Right. Anyway, right. I wouldn't I wouldn't be.
De Bruyne's not coming back anytime soon.
Soon.
Expected back October 20th. Yeah.
But no, the last thing Pep said about it was maybe before the international break he will be available again, which I always assumed meant he's going to play after the international break.
I'm not saying don't go to them because I agree with you. You're right. Their schedule's fantastic. But when Kovacic is a leading scoring midfielder, I just want to see it from someone else.
Well, now you finally have gotten to see it twice in non-league games from Phil Foden.
I need to see it.
I know.
He's going to get his chance.
Yeah, I just, to me, it's the guy.
Are you moving to him with your 3 transfers this week?
Well, I'm saying now's the time. You don't have to wait for it with him. What you were risking before was illness.
All right, so let's ask this: would you rather have Saka or Foden?
No, you take Saka on that.
Okay, would you rather have Palmer or Foden?
Well, I mean, right now, of course, you got.
The only reason why I'm saying that, and maybe I'm not trying to be unfair there.
I'm saying,
but his price is such it puts him in a category in comparing with them. He's 9-2.
But I'm saying even if I had the money, I'm not selling Saka to get Cole Palmer, so I wouldn't make that move.
Okay.
But I would if I can go from my third midfielder. Or a fourth midfielder.
Like Mbeumo to Foden?
I'm not because that's Mbeumo. Not
no,
right
I wouldn't do that either.
That's crazy. So I just don't know. I mean, you're talking Gordon to Foden?
Yes.
Even with... Wow, that's weird. Gordon's a tough
Dwight
one.
McNeil?
Dwight McNeil.
Gordon is $4
Gordon's
a weird one.
Gordon got to take a penalty.
Yeah.
Which will not happen the second that any of their other penalty takers are fit and available again. So I get it.
Fair.
That's the whole point.
Min-Min Son or Foden?
I would take Foden.
I think you're right.
Because I would take Foden. Right, I would take Foden given what he offers in that team compared to what Sonny is asked to do right now for Spurs. It's not because Son can't do it.
I think you're right.
So that's where... Okay. And then it would be, hey, if I really wanted to go way off script here, and I do want to bump Luis Diaz up to Foden. So then, that's a conversation.
Okay.
That would be the consideration. But that also, again, that requires selling. That's trying to find over $1 of leeway, and I'm not really sure where that's coming from.
Yeah.
Travis, next.
Wait.
Oh, shoot.
The Haaland question, though. So I feel like everything's been rearranging, people trying to do everything they can to get Haaland. Of course, in a week where, he's a very popular, as usual, very popular captain. You captained him?
Of course.
You did not.
I did.
So, of course, he gets nothing.
It's his first blank.
Counterpoint to Haaland 1, and you always hate giving credit to people who are intentionally villainous and haters, but Andy Martin has been, of course, for FPL, has been notoriously anti-Haaland. Win or lose, credit to the guy for sticking to his guns, even if it's just for comedy purposes and clicks. He listed, so it's Heskabo. ESN, that's the HESKIBO_ESN on Twitter.
Okay.
No Haaland all season, overall rank 25,000. Planet FPL.
I know that. I follow
James,
that account.
I'm sure Planet FPL pod. No Haaland all season, 34,000 overall rank.
Okay.
And his point the entire time was, he even mockingly says, but Haaland has 10 goals though. That doesn't make sense. And he said, yes, he's $15 million. Now it makes sense. That kind of what else you can do with it. Of course, when he's scoring, a 17, you don't have him. It looks like you need him, but very clearly, really high-ranking players can do good without him. FPL Bull, @Bull FPL on X, scored a 90 this week. Is currently ranked 67-87 overall.
Palmer? He had to.
He captained Salah, has Palmer, and mocking. What he would he is very well within his rights to do. Content creators, suck it. 67-87 overall rank. Never owned Haaland and never will.
Wow.
So it's there. So you have for sure players who have done, I would say 67-87 at this point is as good as you can probably do in this game, all things considered, and somebody who's saying, I'm not doing that.
So in my one counter reaction to that gentleman would be this. Awesome, amazing. I'm not even close to that ranking. But how many people, there's 6,753 people or whatever that exact number was, ranked above you, how many people don't have Haaland?
Yeah. How much is he owned in the top 67-87?
Right. And I would say a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm not coming at him. He's doing awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And you've alluded to it before, Brian. And I don't know how you feel about it right now, but I think you probably feel the same. If you don't and or have Haaland and or Salah, you got to be perfect everywhere else. There's zero margin for error. And this week, Haaland doesn't point. So all of a sudden, the few people who don't captain him or whatever, and I'm on record of saying, hey, good luck. If you cannot own Haaland or not captain Haaland the entire season, you are fantastic. The chances of you finishing in the top whatever are very slim. You might be doing it now, and he might get hurt. If he gets hurt, then not. And I hope he does get hurt, by the way.
Right.
I hope shingles. I hope shingles.
I know.
Happen
You're
to
still wishing harm.
That pompous airbag. But
stay humble.
For fantasy purposes, I still own him because I want my team to be
Speaking of shingles.
Well, Dave, the last thing with any of the Champions League teams is just that Aston Villa play. They are hosting Bayern tomorrow. Nothing really.
This would be a good litmus test for them.
They're going to get
nothing.
blown out.
I don't think anything.
I do not think you want to bet on them getting blown out.
I don't really.
Where's the game? Is it at Bayern?
2 goals or more victory for Bayern Munich? Yes or no?
Is it
doesn't
at
matter
Bayern?
right now.
Oh, okay.
Is it at
That's
Bayern?
the problem. I don't know.
No, I think Villa is. I'm pretty sure Villa is hosting Bayern.
I say draw or win.
Wow. Okay. There you go. All you have to do is take a simple loss.
I think the match doesn't matter because it's the expanded champion. They're not going to do anything.
If you don't,
I don't think anybody's going to care about the match.
Don't you want to root for Brest?
If you're chicken to bet, just say that you're chicken for to Brest.
There's a Champions League team. If this doesn't just tell you the joke level that the Champions League have moved to, there's a team named
the French League.
Brest. In the second, they're ranked second after 2 match weeks. All the teams haven't played, but they've got 2 wins. Credit to them. Brest.
I think the only thing that matters is if there's an injury to Watkins, Rogers, or I don't know, Konza.
That matters. For sure.
So that's the main.
And/or Martinez.
Yeah. How many people are? What's his selection?
No,
you guys look it up. Dave, you're desperate for Onana news because you still have Onana.
Not long.
Okay.
Wait, which Onana? The keeper Onana or the
midfielder?
Villa. The midfielder.
Onana,
you don't know the Rihanna song?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You're so lame. All right.
So
it's the lyrics are.
I don't need to know. We'll get copyright strike.
All right, fair enough. No, we won't.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
And then you can see.
You just said that was it.
No, I'm just saying.
Perfect.
Look, there's other. I mean, of course you've got other.
Travis, why would you spur him on? No pun intended. We were there.
All right. Potables.
No, Manchester United, Chelsea, Spurs. They have their games too. So I'm just saying that's
All right. Top performers.
Wait. I just think it's hard for me to wait sometimes to make the changes. But you're right, Brian.
Information is more important.
Information more important than
price rises or decreases.
I agree.
All right. Top performers for the game week. Obviously, we talked a lot about Palmer. Who else do you want to highlight? Palmer is pretty well talked about at this point.
Well, just if we go back, let's go back to front.
McNeil.
I was going to go back to front this time just to say the goalkeepers real quick. Okay. Just that there was so much. Where's Raya? Not in training. Is his knee getting stitches? He had a bandage on. I have something to say
about this.
All this stuff and wildcard planning and tinkering and hotel spying just to find out where Ray is and what he's doing. All of that for them to concede 2 goals to Leicester. Like, Raya as a goalkeeper choice, yes or no? Is he in your team?
Yes.
And he's not changing no matter what?
No, but can I say something about this?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was so close to taking a hit this week. I literally was doing well. So I had Raya, and I didn't think he was going to start.
Oh.
So my backup is a nobody. So I'm like, oh boy. So I started doing the mental gymnastics, and I'm like, okay, if I take a hit to bring in a goalkeeper and change a defender, and the goalkeeper doesn't get a clean sheet, which Brian already alluded to, 2 out of the 20 teams that played this weekend got a clean sheet.
And it wasn't the ones you would have guessed.
And I would not have brought in Leno, and I would not have brought in Vicario. So I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I think I'll rather just take a 0 with Leno than take a hit and maybe have it worse. And so that was my mental going into it. And then all of a sudden Raya starts. I'm like, okay, well, I guess there's something there.
Yeah.
So clean sheet, here I come.
I didn't necessarily think that, but I'm like, oh, there's a chance here. It did not happen, obviously. But that was my goalkeeper almost take a hit journey this past weekend.
I would just say Vicario, 3.6% selected. I think if you're looking at Spurs, you're looking long term.
So
I think the rest of the calendar year is good for Spurs.
Yeah, for the most part.
Whether, again, it's hard to judge the Manchester.
You're a Spurs guy.
Of course. I don't know how much you can judge the Manchester United match because 1, it was Manchester United and they're trash, and 2, it's obviously affected by a bogus red card. That was
they didn't look good before the red card either.
No, they did not. I think
didn't help them.
Right, the concern was there. They could have lost. They could have lost 3-0 anyway. I will point to Corf FPL, Corf FPL, who I think is correct. Just real quickly, just to say, with VAR available, simply unacceptable to be in a position where we're having red cards overturned on an appeal. I think that is I think that's a minimal expectation really at this point.
I agree.
Those days should be long gone, and yes, it is completely embarrassing. I 100% agree. The red card was wrong.
All right.
But I just would say, like, that's not a reason not to bring in Vicario. You have Christian Romero in your team, which is wild.
Is it?
Your top players, your favorite 2 players are Cole Palmer and Christian Romero.
Those are your Harvey Barnes and Eze, or
I'm interested in finishing. I'm interested in winning the mini league, and I finished second, short 8 points last year. So I want, and I'm gaining ground here. We had a good week this week.
In order to make sure that happens.
I don't care. I will be the fantasy slut. I don't care who's on my team. I'm not going to have principles
I don't think I can make
like
that
former hosts.
Title.
I want the guys who are going to score the most points on a regular basis. Now, what I will say is this, Brian. Romero at a 5-1 to me, and his current value is 5-1. Van de Ven has 3 points less with 1 less start.
Yep.
And Van de Ven is the guy who has 2 assists. Romero will give you, and he had a couple shots on goal this game.
Yep.
He'll give you the shots on goal. Van de Ven puts himself into position to get assists. I think Van de Ven is also less yellow card likely. I don't know the stats on that, but it seems like he's a nicer guy. He has 2 yellow cards. Fast math here. Romero has.
That is dark hairsist.
Romero has 0.
I'm telling you would not think that if Van de Ven didn't have blondish hair. I think you
think I'm dark hairist.
Yeah, I think you are. No, Romero. We've talked about this before. Romero's the one who Romero and Porro are the guys who are going to carry. Those are your goal threat guys. Porro probably more than Romero.
Usually gets 1 or 2 headers a season.
Like
headed goals.
Van de Ven's price, first of all, I imagine it's going to go up. Right, he's the number 3 transfer in so far.
And that's why I'm like, listen, if there's kind of something with Spurs, if Spurs are like, I don't know, every 3rd game getting a clean sheet, but Van de Ven is constantly. I mean, he looked
involved.
Unreal.
Well, I was going to say,
on that dribble up.
He's the fastest defender ever.
And I like at a 4-5. Tell me a better 4-5 defender. Right. Not 4-6. Tell me a better 4-5 defender than Van de Ven right now. And I think FPL missed his price there.
There's a whole bunch, Dave.
There's a lot of 4-5s. That's
James Justin. Did he score 2?
Come on,
I'm
just kidding.
No,
Rico Lewis.
He's done it twice. And the reason why Van de Ven you'd even think about it is because he's done it twice in 6 games.
Yeah.
Run the full length of the field and get an assist. Like, I imagine he's going to do that.
Maybe he'll do it.
I'm guessing he's going to do it
twice
more.
In 6 games, 30%. I'll take that.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think he's going to do it not again.
Gotcha.
Is I guess the point. I'm not expecting him to get assists like that often, but and honestly, 5 chances created for him so far for the season, which not bad for a center back. Like, I just feel like that's a guy I would just say the same thing we said before, have a healthy bench. Don't be surprised when a soft tissue injury creeps up, and like he missed the game a few weeks ago where he gets a 0 just because of a hamstring soreness or whatever. That's going to creep up. All of this was to say that like the back line, you could put Vicario in there if you're on a wild card this week or you still have a wild card yet to go. I don't know. You might want to do that.
He's a top scoring 4 or 5 guy, by the way, and he's played 5 games.
Yeah.
So
no, I don't. That's
again
fine.
Before I knew that, I said, "Tell me a better 4-5 defender." There was some names. I mean, I felt like there was a little jesting going on, but then when I look at the stats there, he is the top 4-5 defender.
Yeah.
Scoring wise, and he's only played 5 games and already short, in 6 games into the season. So there's that.
Dave, your other former goalkeeper that you really used to love, Bernd Leno, the other clean sheet this week. I wanted to say it's probably not going to be many more clean sheets for him the remainder of the season. Just looking at their schedule, but don't look now. Fulham 4th for expected goals against, 4th best. Not 4th worst. I know you're hearing that and you're thinking they're the 4th worst.
They're playing City this week, so you're not expecting much.
I know.
And then Villa.
I know.
But then they go Everton, Brentford, Palace, Wolves, so that's something.
Lots of movement. I'm saying I was one of them that had Anthony Robinson in my week 1 team, made it to my wild card, took him out, and then, of course, this week, all of those guys.
Yeah.
Joachim Andersen, I think, ends up with the highest score of all the Fulham defenders this week. Of course, Leno goes for his clean sheet. Anthony gets a 7, I think, on a bonus point or something. And
one bonus point.
Tete also gets even with a yellow card, still gets a 5 for you. But it's not great, but whatever. Just saying, the Fulham defense. Legit through 6 games, to your point, for sure, a very tough run.
Anderson at a 4-4.
I know we talked about him last week.
He's only played 3 games.
I know. Rewind the tape. We talked about it. He's finally starting for them, and it matters.
It's a 4-4.
It matters.
Yeah, they are definitely much more solid.
He makes them better. So,
yeah, they were missing Adarabioyo, that's right, isn't it?
Yeah. He's gone, though.
Right. They were missing him early in the season. Anderson fills that void.
If you want so somebody that was in my wild card team, I talked about him last week. I legitimately did want Onana. I did have multiple ways trying to get Onana into the team. I think it's the Manchester United
goalkeeper.
Yeah. I think it's the Manchester United. It's not even phobia. It's I don't know what's the phobia where you feel disgusted all the time. Just having, but even this week he goes for he gets a 3. He's 7 saves against Spurs in a game was a lost cause kind of game. Ten Hag and all of the drama around the team. I don't think you really want much to do with it. And then at Villa next week for them. So again, not good. But then it's I don't know, smoother sailing.
Is it though?
I don't know. I think that's the question.
West Ham, maybe. Chelsea, who the frick knows what's going to happen? Leicester played these guys hard.
Yeah.
Ipswich, again, has played hard. Everton, right? I mean, with Branthwaite back, I don't know. I mean, especially given that at some point during that run, you're going to lose your manager. Right. Obviously, United has come out and said,
"Are they?
We're going to stick with him at least for the next 2 matches." That was the statement.
Isn't it?
At least for the next 2 matches. So through the internet to the international break.
Isn't it money? Aren't they owe him? I think they owe him a ton of money.
Didn't they sign him to a new contract anyways?
Yeah, I'm saying even if they cut him, I think they owe him a fortune.
I think they're still paying Moyes.
They might
right now.
Facts.
The sicko goalkeeper pick for the podcast, Mads Hermansen is who I'd like to nominate for the sicko.
That was some
choice.
match.
That boy had a game.
That's one of the best goalkeeper performances I've seen in a really long time.
And Leicester, I would say out. They are now.
I know Arsenal took some flack for barely winning that game, but I think their goalkeeper needs, as Travis has already given him, a ton of credit. Arsenal was making him beyond work. I mean, he stopped a couple point blank. That Havertz stop that he had on an angle was absolutely ridiculous. It just felt like every 3 minutes he was making a stop, and it was like, good Lord, what did we just witness?
Yeah, he had 13 saves. I don't do the math. They're out of their bad run of fixtures, and their next 4 are Bournemouth, 2 at home, Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest home, Southampton, Ipswich away. Again, I don't know what a bad fixture is anymore. I don't know who we talked about it that last week with Villa playing Ipswich and just saying Ipswich has the worst XG4. They had the least shots, whatever, and they still managed to score 2 goals. and could have had more than they did. So I don't know what's a bad fixture, what's a green fixture, but for what it's worth,
pick.
Leicester's fixtures for the rest of really till December are mostly green. So
yeah, I don't think that's crazy. I mean, it's definitely an interesting one, but what's he at, Hermanson?
He's 4-5, owned by 0.6% of teams, and I would just say you expect it that bad teams. Goalkeepers are going to make a lot of saves. He's had at least 3 saves in all but one match. So, like, are you counting on it? Like, when I think he had 2 or whatever in the one game that he didn't get 3, but whatever. Like, and I don't want a whole ton of saves and you lose, 3-1 or whatever.
Sure.
I don't want that.
Okay.
But what I'm just saying, like Hermanson, look,
sicko pick.
All right, roll it.
Super sicko. Right. Defenders, did James Justin move the needle for you?
No.
Leicester defender, right?
Look, I'm not taking anything away from his worldy strike. I'm just saying, come on. Like, that's not happening every week. It was unreal.
That was pretty unreal.
So sick. There was
a couple of things in there that I haven't seen in a long time.
So sick.
Pretty good. That's...
talked about Van de Ven, talked about Gvardiol and Rico Lewis. Ryan Aït-Nouri, let's go back to it one more time. He's 0.1 more than Mikolenko, and I think that was the thing that for me, Mikolenko ended up in so many because he was 4.3, ended up being the not 4.0 cheap defender choice on a lot of
Andy plays
wild
for
cards
Everton.
that I saw. So fine, Mikolenko was back this week, but of course you love to see him score a goal. As soon as I saw him kick it in, I was like, of course he did. Of course Aït-Nouri was the one who scored it. Only one shot for him, so scores the goal in the one shot, but that takes him to 8 shots for the season. Ryan Aït-Nouri still tied for 3rd for shots for all defenders.
He's also won a lot of their set pieces too, which is interesting.
And I'll give you this one. Gabriel, 1.79 XG, has scored 2 goals this season.
Okay.
Ryan Aït-Nouri, 1.52 XG, and has scored 1 goal this season. So those guys are so close. Aït-Nouri is not a service man. He is not a header target on set pieces.
Correct.
And he is nearly matching Gabriel for XG so far this season. I just would like, to me, that is one of the ones that I'm like, do I find a way? I can find.
What's his price?
4.4. I can find a 10th.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The matches, I think they have one more less good match, but we talked about this. We talked about how Cunha and Aït-Nouri and Wolves in general, if anyone emerged, that their schedule is about to go extremely, extremely good for them.
I just made my transfers, but I would consider that.
Then Mark Gahey scores a goal for Crystal Palace this week in a loss. He's 4.4. You're probably not doing it. We talked about it. Joachim Anderson, who still is 4.4.
Worth considering.
That's a consideration. Harwood Bellis, I guess. I would love to know.
If you're going to have a 4.0 guy,
I would love to know.
I mean, maybe he did it once. Maybe he could do it again. You're not expecting much from your 4.0s, but great.
No.
It was a nicked header.
Sure.
That got it.
Yeah, I mean, and nicks can happen twice.
No, for sure. Alex Moreno, another strong performance.
Brian,
for Alex Moreno this week.
How can he continue to find a way to
he just said strong performance. He didn't say anything else.
Alex Moreno into the podcast.
I just like
all right, fair
bring
enough.
him up in the podcast.
Are we defending defenders right now? Or
yes, we are there. We are there. You need to move the toggle because we've been there for a few minutes.
Yeah, I think it's more like all of the heavy hitters, like the guys who you probably were going out of your way, especially wild carders.
Yeah.
You were trying to find a way to fit Trent in. You're trying to go
maybe
single or double.
It's tough to have Trent,
Arsenal.
Salah, and Holland.
I will tell you for certain a multiple day setup that I had in my wild card was to have Timber as my one Arsenal defender, or to include him with Gabriel. Sure. Of course, Timber gets the only return from any of the Arsenal defenders this week.
Right.
Talked about him. I don't know. I still think his price is great. Is there any reason you would choose him alone as an Arsenal defender?
I currently, oddly enough, don't own an Arsenal defender at the moment other than Raya.
That is odd.
He's got Christian Romero.
I know. That's what's weird to me.
And he has Cole
So do you want
Romero got me a clean sheet.
You want Jurrien Timber or Mickey Van de Ven? Prices $1 apart.
Those aren't even in the same stratosphere. I would rather own. Well,
you're about to say what
I know that Timber's starting, then I want Timber.
And you say, when you say not the same stratosphere, you're saying Timber's better? Because ultimately, Van de Ven's sitting on 24 points.
Yeah, but their schedules have been different. Don't give me that.
I'm just saying.
Come back at me.
He's got more points.
It's fair.
I think what I didn't like, and there's something.
Points are points.
This pod has always been supportive of points.
I'm saying like what I didn't like about any of the setup that I had, and I still don't like having a 4-0. I don't like having a defender that's 4-0.
Okay.
And I know they're enablers. I understand that. And so Ryan Greaves, or Jacob Greaves, everybody's Ryan as far as I'm concerned. Jacob Greaves from Ipswich ends up becoming the kind of the hot transfer in. He goes up to, how did he not go up in price? How did he not go to 4-1?
Especially after wildcard week.
Whatever. He's still 4-0. Harwood Bellis 4-0. The number of people who had gone to a low price defender, Mikolenko, like I said, goes, a popular choice. And I still hate it. I wish that all of my defenders were 4-5 and above. I think Van de Ven or any of the 4-4 guys. I think most of these guys that we've talked about, there's a lot of the guys who are 4-4, 4-5 and above. Sure. Mm-hmm. Where you're like, that guy's obviously better. This week, perfect example for, even though it didn't matter for points, Leif Davis was awesome this week.
Yeah.
Leif Davis, we talked about it last week. Greaves goes for a 0. So even if you took the chance on the green matchup this past week for Ipswich, and no, I guess it wasn't green against Aston Villa, but if you're going to take a chance on these guys, you can see where the value of some of them are very clearly over the cheap guys, and I'm like, why would I want Greaves if I can? The only reason why is to make money for someone else further forward. I get that. Yeah. Or to create space for, I can have Gabriel instead of Timber. Not anymore, but whatever. At one point, that was what you could do. I still don't like it, and it's for that exact reason. Where this week, Leif Davis goes for what did he do? 7. I think he had
something like that.
7 chances created. 7 chances created. You know who tied him for chances created this week?
Martinelli.
Jurrien Timber.
What?
Timber and Leif Davis, 7 chances created each. The next closest for any defender was 2 for this game week. So I'm a little surprised that Timber. I guess I don't expect him to be that productive on stuff like that. But I guess what all of that to say, if you're picking between,
I think he will be.
I'm just saying, if you're picking, if you have a chance to shape your defense into some of these players, the only reason why you're putting a Harwood Bellis or Jacob Greaves in there is because one of those guys allows you to move some other person up a little bit.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'm like, look at what if you Harwood Bellis scoring a headed.
But he was
goal,
on everyone's bench.
Right, for sure. I'm sure somebody is going to put him.
Someone might have benefited from it
because Bournemouth is green. And you might put him as your first bench or whatever. Maybe you do get him off the bench because of the matchup. And it's like, well, you lost 3-1. And I don't know, weren't really in it very much.
Yeah.
I put Kepa as my goalkeeper this week, by the way.
Did you feel good about it?
I did until the 55th minute or whatever it was, when Harwood Bellis scored a
meaningless goal.
A nicked head.
That's where this
nicked-headed goal.
angst is coming from.
I knew
we could get there.
No.
Okay, all right.
No, but look, Leaf Davis, 3 big chances created this week. Like, this is one of those things where I'm like, why? I don't want Greaves. I want Leaf Davis. We talked about it even last week. Where I'm like, look at what the guy's done so far this season. But again, points are points.
Yeah.
It led to nothing.
Agree.
So, anyway.
All right. No. All good points, Brian. I'm not. It sounds like I'm being contrarian there. I'm not.
You are.
Travis, you are the true contrarian.
You don't know.
Travis, next segment.
It's all the crap that Brian wants to talk about because we have to create a segment for it. Because he always jams a bunch of random junk at the end.
It's all the other forward and midfield and forward players we haven't talked about. Dwight McNeil. Are you doing anything?
Buying it. I'm still not buying it.
Okay.
You buy.
I can't. No. I can't. I can't.
Yeah.
I just can't.
Yeah, I just.
I'm trying to think of who Dwight McNeil is to me, who blank used to be for Scott, and I can't think of
Dwight McNeil. James Ward-Prowse is probably the closest.
Oh, good call.
To him.
Okay,
with
very
his performance this week, he moves to 5th.
I know
overall.
If he does it against Newcastle, I will bring him in.
I just can't.
I will bring him in for week 8.
I love this
because if you look at his matchups, he's Everton's got Newcastle, Ipswich, Fulham, Southampton, West Ham.
This is why.
5-6.
But I'm saying.
I think he will continue it? I don't. But if he does it at Newcastle, you can't ignore it.
Would you rather have Semenyo or Dwight McNeil?
Right, probably McNeil with that run. Probably.
Do you want to? Okay, let's look at Bournemouth's run here. Would you want to have a Semenyo?
Bournemouth's
run is terrible.
Yeah, theirs is about to get real bad.
That's true. I want to make that bet. All right.
But I guess that's my point. Is
red, Brian?
Oh, I know.
Home to Newcastle. Newcastle's on a bounce. I think they'll be fine. But I like McNeil against his schedule.
I might actually move if it doesn't matter if McNeil points this week, but McNeil to Semenyo for those 3 weeks: home Arsenal, at Villa, home City.
Yeah,
in a row.
It's the reason why we talked about it before. Like Calvert-Lewin, that was a choice for a lot of people on definitely like as a third cheap forward if you want to go that direction. Like made it a little bit more accessible to move some money around if you didn't want to go premium on your forwards. But yeah, Dwight McNeil tied for the lead for all players. Yeah. For chances created for the season. He and we said like Saka, your season leaders are Bukayo Saka, Andreas Pereira, Dejan Kulusevski, who's fantastic this year by the way, and Dwight McNeil.
Wow.
20 chances created each. The difference is I'm pretty sure that Dwight McNeil, I know we talked about it before. He is third for midfielders for big chances created. So Saka's still number 1, Cold Palmer number 2, Dwight McNeil 3 with 5 big chances created this season, and he's still shooting a decent amount. Yeah. The thing that's probably not sustainable is that he's got 3 goals from 5 shots on target. So I think that's the
you don't like that stat. But
never do.
Can I confess something?
Yeah,
I thought
ahead.
He was older. Travis, guess his age.
I don't know, 26.
Okay, Brian?
Yeah, I was gonna say 26 or 27.
24.
This is facist.
This is 24.
It's the shape of his face.
Okay. Now, fairness. He's about 1 month away from becoming 25, but still currently 24.
That's not 27.
And Mickey Van de Ven looks like he's 16 or 17.
He's 45.
He's probably extremely young.
I thought Dwight McNeil was at the end of his career. Little did I know he's coming into his prime. This makes a difference in me considering him. Maybe he's figuring something out with Everton. Maybe this is something legit.
23 also.
Your stats are good. I will consider Dwight McNeil.
Here, I will give you this Dwight McNeil stat. You can do with it what you want. When you go through, I understand what XG does to people. I understand the rage that it induces or the excitement for analytics people or whatever. Cole Palmer, 6 goals from an XG of 3.15. Embuemo, 5 goals from an XG of 1.76. Luis Diaz, 5 goals from an XG of 3.80. 3.8. That's fantastic. Salah, 4 goals from an XG of 3.55. Right on the money. Love it. Semenyo, 3 goals from an XG of 2.89.
Okay.
Dwight McNeil, 3 goals, XG 0.7.
Wow.
Every top scorer in the line, exactly like what you'd expect. Embuemo outperforming it. He's a little higher, but we've seen him be this quality. Maybe not to that degree, but whatever.
Wow.
I'm just saying, Dwight McNeil.
Okay.
It's
extremely
always
low
screamers, man.
XG.
Got you.
Hugely successful conversion rate. I
Awesome.
get it.
So are you bringing him in?
No.
After next week, I will consider it. I'm serious. I really, really will.
I would go from
want Semenyo this
Gordon
week at Leicester,
or Rodgers to him. Why not?
Unless you advocate to me and convince me to sell Luis Diaz to drop down to Dwight McNeil.
You'd have to do something with that.
I would never do that. All right, real quick, let's go over captains. I'm captaining Holland home Fulham this week. I think if anyone else...
No, hold on.
Oh.
This is potables.
Well, not really.
Well, I'm trying to. We're getting along in the tooth, as they say. So
I'm just saying, you barely talked about your guy Martinelli. I know we talked a lot about Trossard. This is Martinelli's.
Useless.
This was Martinelli's welcome to the season match.
He's been doing a lot of good things. I just don't think he's fantasy relevant yet.
Are you sure?
I feel pretty sure about that.
Okay.
I would not move to him, and I love him, but I am not willing to move fantasy to him yet. No, not yet.
Okay. So you are not expecting the performances to continue not like that, is what you're saying.
I just need to see it first, man.
Everything with you is I got to see it first.
I mean, I'm from Missouri, I guess. Show me. Let's go.
I remember that. I remember he said that before.
He says it too much.
No,
I'm not from Missouri, by the way.
Spurs are about to go on the as fine of a run of matches here as possible. Brennan Johnson now goals in back-to-back Premier League games.
Which you told me that pre-pod. I was shocked to understand that.
The story with Brennan...
4 goals overall in games, correct?
Right. He's scored in 4 straight all competitions. The story with Brennan Johnson is that, this was weeks ago. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but he was taking some serious harassment on social media and he deleted his social media accounts.
Good for him.
The game after he deleted Instagram or whatever, he scored. That's when he scored. So that was the kind of thing of
he cleared his mind.
Well, basically it was show the haters
mojo.
Basically shut everybody up by performing. Yeah. And you score goals, you clear your headspace. Yeah, it's exactly right. So this is multiple games in a row. He's been in my team before.
Are you bringing him in now? 2 hot games. I'm 7 and 11 back to back.
I'm saying if you're bringing him in, this is exactly 6-4. What it is. You're bringing him in now for this exact reason. It's the reason why you're gonna pick last week you finally saw Dominic Solanke and joked about it he was in a slump that lasted exactly 180 minutes or whatever, just saying basically everybody calm down, take a deep breath and whatever. Mm-hmm. And now it's back-to-back games for Solanke to score goals. I get it was late, I get it was against 10 men, but this is back-to-back goals in the league for Brennan Johnson, back-to-back goals in the league for Dominic Solanke, and now you're about to go on at least the next 5 games in the league, then away to Manchester City, and then 4 games after that, and then it's Liverpool. I'm saying
a couple blips, but
City and Liverpool are spaced out pretty far, but the rest of the calendar year for Spurs is, I'd say, highly favorable. And I'm saying whether it's fine or not, your number 1 attacking team for the season right now, shots per game, Manchester City, 19.2. Number 2, Tottenham Hotspur, 18.3 shots per game.
Really?
Your number one team for shots on target per game right now, Tottenham Hotspur, ahead of Manchester City, 7.5 shots on target per game for Tottenham Hotspur. Hotspur, yeah.
Shooter McGavin.
Your number one team for expected goals for the season after 6 games.
Tottenham Hotspur.
Let's
go.
14.46
Your favorite team.
XG for. Guess who's number 2?
Tottenham Hotspur.
They are also number 2. No, who?
City.
That was a funny.
Liverpool.
Was it Troll Football? Maybe he did it where it was Eric Ten Hag, like a quote, like, "It's not fair. We had to play against Tottenham and Hotspur. Like,
Stop.
It's unfair that we had to play against
both.
2 teams."
Oh,
No, number 2 is Liverpool.
yeah.
Tottenham 14.46, Liverpool 13.61. You are nearly 1 goal.
Jump on that Spur train, baby. Let's go.
You are nearly 1 imaginary goal behind Tottenham Hotspur.
Well, it's working out well for them. They're 8th in the table. They're going to be fine, right?
I am saying, like, rocky beginning. They did it this week with no Son. Son missed out after picking up a knock in their previous game.
Okay.
So
it didn't matter.
I think that's the tough thing. Like, I really want, like, I think Kulishevsky's been, I think
where I was going with that.
Kulishevsky's been great.
eye test player.
But he needs
a guy
to make it fantasy relevant for us to give him much run.
Yeah, and I'm saying you have a guy that is
creating chances.
Who's created the number 1 amount of chances, not just creating some.
Well, then he needs teammates to convert.
Right, and I think you're starting. You already had the chances prior to this. What you didn't have was the finishing. You also didn't have a starting fit Dominic Solanke inexplicably for the first few weeks of the season. Now you have a back-to-back goal-scoring Dominic Solanke. You have Son, certainly not long-term injury, but Son to come back and facilitate even more. Brennan Johnson. You have Mickey Van de Ven, who can run the fastest, like a cheetah, up and down the field to create chances for people. I'm just saying, like, this is the run to take advantage of. Like, if you were going to hedge in favor of someone, like, you want to see the minutes.
Now it's time.
Yeah, you want to see the minutes from players like that.
I love it. Awesome.
Delap didn't do anything for you scoring a brace?
Who?
Like Liam Delap?
Who?
Come on, man. Ipswich.
Good for the Tractor Boys. I'm not trying to throw shade. Just doesn't meet my fantasy radar, dude. Just saying.
Did he do enough for you for it to be even a consideration? You brought him in.
Yeah, I had to move.
You really did?
João Pedro.
Holy cow.
Come on,
you
man.
bought Delap.
He's 5'6". I guess you'd rather.
Did you get him before the price rise?
Pedro's not playing, so you're right. Playing player greater than not playing.
I needed to get rid of João Pedro anyways, so I took a punt. He's going to sit on my bench. I don't think I'll play him, but I took a punt.
I'd rather own Vardy at 5'7" than Delap at 5'6".
I mean, we've already talked about Ipswich's.
I would rather own
Ipswich Ipswich. We just said this, that if Leicester's fixtures are also good, we've said that Ipswich, I think, also have useful fixtures to play them if you need to. Would you, if you have Vardy, is he an every week no-brainer in your lineup starter for you?
No.
Right. He's a if I need him off the bench or in super favorable matchups, I'll go to him. I don't think I would want him for minutes concerns.
Yeah.
Like, I love that he's clinical. I don't know why. I guess I don't think I would do, like, I want somebody consistent minutes wise.
Welbeck was my other option. And
5'8".
He was just a touch too expensive, and he doesn't have the same type of run that Ipswich is going to have. So, I went with free up some money, throw the guy on the bench.
I hear you. All right, I think we're done with the potpourri.
Okay,
we did it.
Move on to captains. I'm captaining Holland this week. Boring. I brought this up in our Slack this past week, our Slack channel for the podcast. I brought up the fact that I wish and then I did this before. Travis, you know this.
Yeah.
Before Palmer went off, I threw out.
Admittedly, it was after Holland didn't go off.
Okay,
right.
Holland.
So
played
Holland
early
was
game,
your captain.
Doesn't score. All of a sudden
he got
I've always wanted for the vice captain to have some more relevance than they do, because maybe once or twice a year your vice captain might actually mean something. But what if the vice captain, if the vice captain outscores the captain, then you get the vice captain double instead of the captain double. If the vice captain outscores the captain, all of a sudden now, in a year where it's either Salah or Holland in captaining, and it's so
you don't have to pick. You can have them both.
All of a sudden, the vice has some viability because it matters now. If one of them blanks, I'm going to get this guy's points. So I just feel like that's an easy move for FPL. I'm sure they've thought of it. They have smart people there.
That's the mystery chip.
If they haven't, it feels like this could be an easy move and give the vice captaincy some relevancy.
Okay.
All that being said, Palmer was my vice captain.
I like
Holland was my captain.
I like it.
Anyways, going into this week, Holland will continue to be my captain, and Palmer, not that anyone cares. Actually, that's not true. I'll probably change it to Saka or Havertz. Havertz might actually be my...
that's what I was going to say.
Havertz will be my vice captain.
Why wouldn't you captain one of your guys at home against Southampton?
You're right. Havertz. I'll have Captain Havertz. Or vice captain Havertz. Holland, I've gotten burned not captaining Holland. Holland's the captain.
Okay.
Fulham just had a clean sheet last week.
Don't care.
Oh, wow.
Although it is a city-less Rodri. But city-less Rodri. Rodri-less City.
I
call him.
Didn't matter today in Champions League.
I don't know, man.
They're playing a nobody. They're playing a Division 3 team who happens to be in Champions League.
I think after what everyone saw with Bournemouth and the way they just kind of easily dispatched Southampton, that the feeling would be, why wouldn't Arsenal
that's where I'm
more
at too.
Easily dispatch
that matchup
Southampton.
Is juicier.
I know this.
Havertz or Saka.
He'll be in till the end, and he got his goal last minute this past week against Leicester.
Yeah.
If I had Arsenal, I would probably be captaining Arsenal here.
You're not you. So you think for sure? Would you? Is there any expectation of Saka subbing early in this game?
Is that your captain consideration? Then?
I think Salah will play no more than 80 minutes. He will max out at 80.
Hey, 60 minutes, 3 goals, because he can score.
He's never scored a hat trick.
He can.
Stop, Travis. Stop it. He's never scored a hat trick.
Who, Saka?
Yeah,
you're right. He's got a bunch of braces. He's got like 2 braces a year.
Trick. His teeth are straight.
Hat trick is not him.
Extremely.
Right. Travis, who are you captaining?
Holland. Okay. I don't have
Ryan, who are you captaining?
Saka.
I probably am going off of Holland.
Okay. All right. Next week, I will give a podcast league update. We haven't done that in a while. We will bring that next week and discuss those who continue to crush in our podcast league. Gentlemen, anything else? Last second, one last blurb. We covered captains. We've covered so much, and I'm so grateful for that. I have made transfers on the pod. Brian, I know you love that. Robertson out, Gardeval in, Onana out. There was 1/10 difference between Gardeval and Robertson, which gave me the 10th to go from Onana to Rodgers. So that's the move that I made.
Interesting.
All right. If that's it, gentlemen, and we have nothing else for the FPL America podcast, this is David Smith. Until next time.